honorable guests, distinguished speakers, and participants. I am pleased to moderate the panel entitled "The Assurance of Freedom of Navigation, the Role of the Black Sea Ports in Ukraine's Reconstruction Process." First, I would like to highlight some facts about what is happening in our region, especially in terms of maritime security and sea interconnection. Russia has proven through its illegal annexation of Crimea and subsequently through the conventional war in Ukraine its aggressive ambition to project naval status quo in the northern Black Sea. The situation has dramatically diminished Ukraine's and the region's economic relevance, and Russia has been using weapons from the sea, from the occupied territories to threaten commercial and military traffic, causing significant damage to major Ukrainian ports, infrastructure, and facilities. And we are facing with some consequences and effects which are related to supply chains disruptions, restriction on maritime movement, blockades, exclusive zones, and war damage to ports severely impede trade flows for many industries, leading to shortages, delays, and higher costs. Energy, agriculture, and manufacturing supply chains are most impacted. Another consequence is related to higher insurance costs. Transport companies and traders are affected by maritime instability. Threats to commercial vessels and shipping accidents significantly impact insurance costs. Not actually risk can drive higher prices, but also the perception about the risk in the Black Sea region make it difficult for companies to keep insurance costs down. It is crucial to take necessary precautions to minimize risks and ensure the safety of goods and vessels to avoid long-term losses. The third consequence is related to physical insecurity, and we see that Russia has been laying mines in the maritime space, which created a huge challenge for navigation. The fourth consequence is related to capital flight. War and geopolitical tensions significantly threaten coastal infrastructure and port operations and severely impact foreign direct investment in coastal economies. And the fifth one, consequence that I have identified is related to lost fishing industry access. The fishing industry heavily depends on safe and secure access to coastal waters claimed as exclusive zones, and disputes over rights or exclusion due to safety risk arising from conflicts at sea severely impacts the livelihoods of commercial and subsistence fishing communities. All these issues are related to obstructed navigation and the role of the Black Sea ports. We want to discuss ways to reduce risks, to promote collective actions, to protect freedom of navigation, while why not incentivizing private actors to secure supply chains. Additionally, of course, multinational diplomatic and military efforts are required to safeguard Black Sea access Black Sea access, which is vital for the private sector. And now I would like to invite our first distinguished speaker, Mr. Vergil CHIČAC. He's the mayor of Constanța in Romania, a very important city and port, a port city in Constanța. He has a background in naval engineering and became an academic, a full professor since 2009. He was Dean of the Faculty of Civil Navy, Vice Rector and Rector of the Naval Academy Mircea cel Bătrân. Mr. CHIČAC was a senator in the Romanian Parliament in the previous legislature. So, Mayor CHIČAC, what are the challenges perceived by the local administration in Constanța and also by the academic CHIČAC related to our topic?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to have a short speech, having this important topic, the reconstruction of Ukraine. It is a challenge indeed, and because I have the notice in Romanian language, furthermore I will speak in Romanian.
The main key points I would like to approach in my intervention are the following. When should the reconstruction of Ukraine start, and what it means, and what is the role of the freedom of navigation in the reconstruction of Ukraine, the risks for the reconstruction of Ukraine. When should it start? And what it means? I think it is to start the discussion around it when the war stops, because Putin doesn't want to put an end to this war. It may seem that he is thinking about it, but he doesn't act in consequence, because the Russian economy is pretty resilient despite all sanctions applied to Russia's economy. He managed tariffs for oil, and he created a parallel fleet. This is why he manages to sell oil at $64 per barrel. And why isn't he thinking right now about the end of the war? Because he consolidated his control through deceiving propaganda that presents the West as the greatest evil, and this war is their survival mechanism against this evil. And he manages to pay high wages to soldiers. Russia's economy now is focusing on wartime. He is acquiring ammunition, drones from Iran and from North Korea. So his army started to efficiently fight against Ukraine, especially in electronic warfare. So the missiles launched by Ukraine aren't hitting the targets anymore. And because he is not leading a democratic society, he doesn't care about losses, no matter how high the losses are. In my opinion, without a war, Putin won't have legitimacy for the sufferance of his people and legitimacy in Russia. So let's forget about the predictable future of this war and in the absence of such predictable outcomes, the reconstruction of Ukraine should have started yesterday or today, the latest. What does the reconstruction of Ukraine mean? We have two main arms. The reconstruction of state institutions. We need strong institutions and prosperous ones, and then the reconstruction of economy and of Ukraine's infrastructure. If we look at the reconstruction of Ukraine's infrastructure, we cannot imagine that without the advantages offered by naval transportation. What is the role of cargo transportation in the reconstruction of Ukraine? When I was a professor, I was teaching vessel construction. So 70% of the globe is covered by water. 80% of the world's population is living on coastlines, and 90% of world trade is done due to cargo ships and due to ships. So ship transportation is the least costly and least polluting type of freight transportation. A container of 18 tons, for each ton transported, will produce 3 grams of carbon dioxide. Boeing, 435 grams, and a truck around 200. So without cargo shipment using maritime vessels, we won't get green. So we need to focus on exportation, especially grain transportation that fuels the economy, and there is a world interest that will maintain food security, because Ukraine, we know, exports grains to those countries that most need cereals. But to do that, we need the necessary infrastructure, and 70% of exportation from Ukraine is transported with ships. So exports from Ukraine cannot happen without freedom of navigation, sea freedom of navigation. They cannot be constantly threatened by mines that are adrift, or by drones, or by missiles. So we should focus on the loading and unloading infrastructure as well. These risks that appeared are because of a very aggressive attitude of Russia towards the Ukraine, but this aggressive posture started in 2008 when Russia attacked Georgia and also hit 2 ships. That's when Putin demanded control over Ukraine's economic exclusive zone. After Crimea's annexation, Crimea was militarized, heavily militarized. In 2014, and I will give you the figures for 2014 and 2018, armored carriers S-300 and S-400. In 2014, 0. In 2018, 16. Military men, 12,000 in 2014, 31,000 in 2018. Fighting aircraft, in 2018, 122. Attack helicopters, 37 in 2014 and 62 in 2018. Battleships, frigates in 2014, 6 in 2018, 13. Now they don't have Kilo-class submarines, 1 in 2014, after annexation, 7. Russia expanded unilaterally their own economic exclusive zone. And of course, they can get into maritime litigations because they are a member of the Security Council in the UN, and they have a veto right. You can only remember that this year they blocked an important corridor in Bulgaria's economic exclusive zone and restricted the freedom of navigation. In August 2023, they approached a civil ship belonging to a Turkish vessel owner, and after they arrested it, they released it. Maybe my figures are not very accurate, but we also have problems with drifting mines. Our maritime authorities say that they identified 82 mines and 67 were Ukrainian, but I believe they were also launched by Russians from Crimea or from helicopters. Now, let's get to the conclusions. The Russia's aggressive behavior will continue. Although their naval fleet is not that big anymore because it moved to Novorossiysk, this aggressive behavior has two reasons, two aims: to obstacle the freedom of navigation, and the second one, they want to stop the development of energy projects that are to be carried out in our offshore region, to exploit fossil fuels in the riparian states. And if you want, I can present to you another case study I have brought with me, but if I don't have enough time for that, we can skip that.
Maybe we will have the chance to talk more in the Q&A session. Yes, thank you very much for your insightful presentation. There are several important coordinates, and we maybe will have the chance to speak with our audience about all these ideas. Now I want to invite Rear Admiral Liviu Coman, Commander of the Romanian Maritime Component Command. Mr. Coman has a prolific career, vast training and education achievements, and experience in multinational operations planning. A few landmarks about his career. In 2013, he was promoted to Chief of Staff in the 15th Corvette Squadron until July 1st, when he was appointed commander of the 15th Corvette Squadron. Later, he graduated from Naval Command College, United States Naval War College. He was awarded first prize in the Robert Batesman International Prize. So, Admiral, what are the naval challenges in the Black Sea when we refer to threats, vulnerabilities, please?
Mulțumesc pentru prezentare.
Thank you so much for your introduction. I'd like to thank New Strategy Center for the invitation, your excellencies, distinguished guests. In the next 7-10 minutes, I will give you the point of view of the maritime staff with regard to freedom of navigation and freedom of movement. This is a concept that has garnered ever more importance nowadays. However, it was described by Thucydides and Xenophon during the Peloponnesian Wars, by Alfred Maham, by Courbet, and by big naval thinkers. And they all underline the importance to have this freedom of navigation wherever we are in the world. Coming back to the importance of this concept and what has happened over this last 2 years in the Black Sea, we've seen that the main objective of the Russian Federation was to block and to ban the traffic in the Black Sea. Almost half of the Black Sea surface was forbidden from different reasons, because there's danger from mines or because they carry out various exercises there. So this interdiction only leads to an increase in maritime traffic costs, with direct results on our markets. What is very important here is the fact that aside from this interdiction, there's also a limitation by the Convention of Montreux, which interdicts the non-riparian states to have military ships in the Black Sea. The military Russians' actions here against merchant ships are also very important. And I could say that in August of this year, we had a peak of almost 520 ships that were in the harbors on the Kilia branch or on the Danube Channel in the Economic Exclusive Zone, the EEZ. Ships which had cargo on board with a destination to Ukraine, or which intended to take over grain from Ukraine. So 520, we have 120 ships daily, 90 of which are Ukrainians on the Kilia branch. And officially, over 90 mines have been destroyed during this time. This is a constant danger, the danger of drifting mines, which comes with an increase in cost for merchant ships. Drifting mines represent a danger not only for navigation, but they also come with a cost for the human life, for tourism, and for the environment. They can lead to massive ecological disasters. During mid-September and the beginning of October, 5 ships said that they've been impacted by explosions, one of which even sunk on an area of almost 20 kilometers, so 15 maritime miles on the Chilia branch. And it was only thanks to the rapid intervention of local forces that the ship managed to be brought on shore. If it had sunk, this would have had a negative influence on the cargo traffic. Thanks to the Maritime Hydrographic Department, we have daily data. And as you see here on the screen, we have a record of currents and winds. And this allows us to forecast with very good accuracy the drifting mines routes. And we can inform ships. We launched constant warnings with regard to navigation risks or weather risks. So we inform the commercial ships about drifting mines dangers or about the danger which is posed by other objects that have not been precisely identified. They could be mines, but we don't know. There is an initiative called the Black Sea Grain Initiative. It is very important for the naval forces. We've promoted certain corridors, both near the shore and in the deep sea, in order to ensure those safe passages in the EEZ, to promote safe navigation on a daily basis, irrespective of weather conditions. We have a ship or a helicopter or a drone that is hovering over this area, surveilling them. Moreover, we have a very good cooperation with the USA, with France and Turkey. And whenever we have asked a maritime patrol ship, they have answered in the affirmative. Thanks to this equipment, we have been able to identify magnetic anomalies to be sure that we're safe from mines and we can avoid hitting one. Over 1,000 ships have transited the EEZ so far, and I can assure you that the efforts made by the Romanian naval forces is a major one. And irrespective of the situation, we will be there. We have a positive image of all targets, all acknowledged targets in the Black Sea. Here we have a mapping of navigation. You see that it is quite intense. You see the number of ships and at the entrance in the Sulina and Constanța harbors. Just imagine what it would mean to have a drifting mine there near these harbors. The distance between ships is no longer than 200 or 300 meters. So this could initiate a chain explosion. And another danger for the freedom of navigation is the GPS spoofing and jamming, and the jamming of communications. When distances between ships are so small, of only a couple of hundred meters, it's dangerous. And from the beginning of this year, spoofing and jamming have known an upward trend. And this is another additional element that infringes on the freedom of navigation. Here you have another map showing the location of the mines we've identified so far. But you can also see here the international cooperation we have with the neighboring and riparian countries, as well as with the UK, with the US, with the Allied Command in the north as well. So we are constantly knowledgeable of the situation. You see here the recommended routes as well that we have promoting via the orders we have launched or via the notification towards the merchant ships commanders. In conclusion, we should stay vigilant, and I can assure you that the Romanian naval forces are constantly surveilling the situation, and we are committed to maintaining the freedom of navigation for all. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Admiral, Command, for your insightful presentation. We are grateful to Romanian Naval Forces for being present in the Black Sea and trying to tackle all these challenges. We must add that Romania is a frontline state in NATO, and it poses somehow for Romania bigger challenges and greater challenges in this unfortunate war started by Russia. Now I would like to invite Mr. Maksym LAPAI. Mr. Maksym LAPAI from Ukraine, specialized in maritime transport organization and management. Since December 2022, he held the position of head of the Odessa branch of the state enterprise Ukrainian Seaports Authority. And in September 2023, he was appointed deputy chairman for ports at the state enterprise Ukrainian Seaports Authority, where he is currently working. The floor is open for you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for organization and take a chance to talk about Ukrainian ports on this stage. So thank you again. And I make a little presentation, so can I ask you for this one? And if it's okay, we can see it on our screens. Окей, у нас технічні негаразди, тому it's technical problems, so I spoke about Ukrainian ports in 2023 without our presentation. So I want to begin from the Danube region, and it's a main route for Ukrainian export in 2022 and 2023. And as a state enterprise, Ukrainian Seaport Authority, what we had to do in this period. In the beginning, it was about 15 investment projects we together with investor are implementing right now. During these 2 years, operational dredging was carried out in the amount of 3 million cubic meters. It's a lot volume, and For this, we have passport depths in our channels and in our equatory, and it make possible to do a lot of export and grain export and export of export of another cargoes and import of oil and oil products and another cargoes which go to Ukraine. What about pilots in equatory of the new ports? In the beginning it was 14 persons. For today it's about 80 persons who work in the new region. 20 new cargo transshipment points were opened in 2023, and through this, we have record figures of the new ports operation. It's about 3.3 million tons of cargo per month for the new region. It's over 121,000 tons of cargo per day. It's about 9,000 of rail cars per month, about 4.1 thousand of cars per day in this region, and 22 ships and 40 barges were simultaneously handled at the berth of Port Rainy. The largest bulk carrier in the history of Ukraine independence, Cape Scott, with a record deadweight 28.7 thousand tons, was handled in the port of Rainy. About statistic, it's for today, it's about 29.4 million tons for 11 months of 2023. It's about 600% compared with the same period on 2022. In the 2021, it was only 4.9 million of tons. Number of vessels which was handled, it's about 13,045 ships. And for compare, in 2022, it was only 8,000 or 9,000 of units, and 2021 it was only 3,000 of ships. So in the beginning, in the new region, monthly cargo turnover was about 400 of tons, 400,000 of tons, and in the June, July, and August of 2023, when when grain initiative was blocked, cargo turnover in the new region came to 3 million and per month. So we have a positive dynamic, and now we have another way of export and import our cargoes. It's a Ukrainian corridor for ports of Chornomorsk, Odessa, and Pivdennny, and now it's work. And in November, operationally, we handled about 4 million tons of cargoes. For compare, the best months in grain initiative, it was about 4.2 million tons, and we think in December we can. Excuse me, I have this presentation on the screen, so it will be simple for you understand what I talk about. So it's a statistic data about our export, and as I said, in the beginning, in the new region, cargo turnover was only 400 tons, and as you see, in July of 2023, these figures became to 3.3 million tons per month. Now we have balance it with big ports in Odessa. It's, as I said, Chornomorsk, Odessa, and Pivdennny, And on this right side of the slide, you can see that on in November of 2023, we have handled about 4.1 millions of cargos, and total for 4 months we handled about 6.4 million tons, and we think in December these figures will go up, and it's a good way to balance our facilities with the new region and with the ports of in Odessa Bay. So about vessels, for today, since August, we have handled about 209, and for today it's about 40 vessels with on our port, so it still moving. About our international cooperation, so with this company which I mentioned on the slide, we have programs to get pilot boats. It's very important for us because we have 2 pilot boats which was damaged with the mines and with Russian attacks, and now it's a good help for Delta Pilot. It's a part of USPA to have these boats to make it possible to ships go in and out of ports in the new region, in the big ports of Odessa, something like that. We have a loading equipment. Diesel generation is very important for us because our enemies always try to black out our facilities, so we have an alternative way of power supply. Construction equipment, specialized equipment for oil spill and oil spill response in the area. So this really important question because a lot of attacks was finished with damage of facilities with oil or oil products or some flower oils, and part of these cargoes go to the equatorial, and sometimes it became that ships are damaged and oil from the ships or it's came to our equatorial, and we need to be ready to do something with this situation. So we have help with booms, total length about 2.4 kilometers. It was supplied by Governor Buffett Foundation, and today is important for us because it's some kind of protection with water drones, and we need to stay safe in our equatory, stay safe with our berths, and this stuff can be useful to make it possible. So our plans for 2024, it's shortly it's operational dredging. We need to still do it. It's technical support for pilots and updating vessel traffic monitoring system. If about safety of navigation, our repair works in territory of ports, roads and railways, digitalization of process in the new ports. It make possible to handle more trucks and more rail trucks. So restoration of seaport infrastructure which was damaged, and international cooperation within RDNA 3. It's what about our Deputy of Prime Minister talk. It's our program with rapid restoration of infrastructure in port territory. So shortly that's all. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about our ports on this stage.
Thank you very much, Mr. LAPAI. It was very interesting to see those facts and numbers. Maybe Participants from the audience will have some questions at the end of our session. I want to check if Mr. Mykola GAPEYEV is online with us.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, yes. Just a short introduction. Mr. GAPEYEV graduated from Lviv National Polytechnic University with a master's degree in consolidated intelligence. A former executive director of asset shipping, was responsible for the company operational management. And from October this year, he became director of grain cargo shipping. Mr. GAPEYEV, the floor is open for you.
Доброго дня, шановні колеги. В першу чергу хочу подякувати організаторам нашої конференції, а також подякувати Румунії.
Of our conference, and nowadays Romania turned out to be our kind neighbor, and they also help us dealing with the aggression the enemy directs at us. Speaking about Ukrainian ports, it's hard to underestimate their role in post-war reconstruction of Ukraine. So the the functioning of Black Sea ports will increase the GDP, and of course, Ukrainian grain is the main product for export, and ports of Dunai are not able to cope with all the scope of grain which was being gathered, and more than 4.5 million of tons of grain were sent for export. But except export, ports of Odessa were important for container lines, for international container lines, and consuming products came to Ukraine firstly through Black Sea ports, and now the logistics has changed. The cargoes arrived through western borders, through Gdansk and other places, and this led to expenditures, and this influenced the prices for goods and for products, and this has a bad influence on our people and on our economy. That's why opening and reconstruction of Black Sea port is very important for us. When we speak about grain export and about Black Sea ports, let's remember that before full-scale invasion, Mykolaiv played a very important role, and starting from 2010, in the port of Mykolaiv, there were lots of investment projects which became examples of international cooperation, and such giants as Kovco, Carcelor, and other world-leading companies were invited to port of Mykolaiv. Me personally participated in the opening of reloading terminal of Kovco in Mykolaiv, and unfortunately now ports of Mykolaiv are closed. Starting from 19th century and from the period of Russian-Turkish war, there was a saying, who owns Achakiv owns the sea. Achakiv is a narrow channel which joins Black Sea, and now occupant troops are they're constantly shelling Achakiv, and it is now 1.5 million tons of cargo are stored in ports of Mykolaiv, and before the war we had opportunity to store 2.5 million of tons of goods in Mykolaiv. Mykolaiv also a shipbuilding capital of Ukraine, and once the vessel enters the port, also the vessel can be repaired, and such corporation as Daimler had the first investment. It was a shipbuilding yard, a shipbuilding plant in Mykolaiv, and of course, restoration of shipbuilding yards and shipbuilding plants in Mykolaiv will help in post-war restoration of Ukraine, because it will create new working places and new jobs. And of course, we are working over our export right now. We were working with the new ports, and here a large support was given by our Romanian partners, because they helped us with large tonnage vessels and barges. If we come back to Black Sea ports of Ukraine, we are very anxious. We expect them
were very important. Having in mind, just for example, in 2020, before the war, the passage of vessels in Sulina, we could have count for tens per month. Yeah? And now we are talking, waiting in Sulina entrance around 80 to 100 vessels. So the flux of vessels on the Danube from, let's say, a monthly figure of 10 to 12 becomes a daily figure now. Yeah. So the efforts in logistics and allocation of manpower, has been done in a very, let's say, fast and professional way from both sides. With our support from our colleagues from USPA, indeed was a team effort, and there was really a good result. So based on this, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you, actually, Mr. Rear Admiral CHIİTAC, which used to be my teacher during my period in the Naval Academy, and to thank him for his guidance and the learnings he passed over about navigation and being ready for the future endeavors I faced during my career, actually. So in conclusion, I'd say that collective international efforts are crucial for addressing challenges to Black Sea freedom. Romanian strategic positions and ports, it really makes a difference in all this puzzle. And the cooperation with the NATO state members, guided by the Montreux Convention, are extremely important for making success in Ukraine's reconstruction and modernization. I'd like to thank you for the time and attention. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Maybe we will have also the chance to speak a little bit about the most significant risks for private sector that we might associate with challenges to freedom of navigation after our last speaker's remarks. Now I will invite Sergei Kropva. He is the deputy head of Odessa Regional State Administration for Digital Development, Digital Transformation and Digital CDTO in Ukraine. I will mention a few career milestones. He has an educational background in law and cybersecurity. He served in the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the National Police of Ukraine. Mr. Kropova, the floor is yours. Please, we are waiting for your thoughts.
Thank you so much for giving an opportunity to take part in this international conference. Additionally to the information that the colleagues already mentioned, and additionally to all the graphics which they already presented, I want to tell that on behalf of the Odessa region, I am very pleased to be and taking part in this international conference. Romania is a reliable partner for Ukraine, as Ukraine is for Romania. Romania has provided Ukraine with defense, political, and very important humanitarian and economic support. We are really grateful for every manifestation of your solidarity, and we'll always remember that at the decisive moment, Romania did not hesitate to choose Ukraine. Romania is a key partner in Ukraine's post-war recovery, as it has advantages such as security, geographical proximity, and transport connection. Odessa region, located on the Black Sea, has historically played an important role in trade routes and exchange of cultural values. Today we are facing major challenges related to changes in the geopolitical landscape, economic and environmental aspects, as well as the implementation of ambitious infrastructure projects. One of the major projects to create a new transportation artery is the construction of a new bridge across the Dniester estuary. The construction of the bridge will create an additional connectivity channel with the south of Ukraine region and strengthen the security component of the region. Another important precondition for the construction of the bridge is to reduce the distance and time of transportation to the Black Sea and the new ports. The implementation of such a project in Odessa region could become a component of the Black Sea Ring Road, which would improve the multimodal traffic of goods around the Black Sea. Practical experience in the new circumstances made it possible to develop a new intermodal export route between Ukraine and Romania. Launched in May 2022, the EU's Solidarity Road initiative helped to create alternative logistic routes and urgently eliminate transport delays at the borders. Last week was the third meeting in Romania on increasing the export capacity for Ukrainian Danube ports. Today, the Danube ports remain a stable alternative route for agricultural export. During the war, the ports of Izmail, Reni, and Uzdenaisk increased their cargo traffic by 3 times. Over 11 months of operation, the total transshipment volumes through the Ukrainian Danube port reach almost 30 million tons. Moreover, the flow of goods across Ukraine's land border has increased significantly in short time. The rapid progress in developing the capacity of the Ukrainian-Romanian border after the Russian full-scale invasion became largely possible due to the successful coordination of stakeholders on both sides of the border. Preserving and strengthening freedom of navigation in the Black Sea is an important task for all countries in the region. Russia regularly attacks Ukrainian port infrastructure with missiles and shaheds, so strengthening air defense is a key factor in protecting global food security, as it will prevent any part of Black Sea and the Danube region from becoming a dead zone for shipping. After Ukraine's victory, the main task for the ports is to maintain transshipment volumes and prevent capacity downtown to maintain the businesses reorientation that is being seen now. I am convinced that the port of the new region, together with their port facilities and well-developed rear areas, can become a powerful production and transportation hub that will continue to meet a large part of export and import needs. Thank you so much for your attention and for all that you do for Ukraine and for all this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kropova. I have a question for you, if it's possible.
Absolutely.
Yes. How do you see the trilateral agreement regarding demining operations signed by Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey? To what extent do you consider this initiative will improve freedom of navigation and create a better flow of Ukrainian grains?
That's a really interesting question. Thank you for asking me about this. I am absolutely sure that such kind of agreement between all the countries will help to cargo the products from the territory of Ukraine better in a better time. But that's all probably what I can tell you about this at this point.
Thank you very much. I will pass the mic to Admiral. Come on, please.
Deminarea câmpurilor de mine necesită
Demining minefields requires intense efforts and a long time. Any aid is welcome. This trilateral agreement can only emphasize the importance of freedom of navigation. Next week, we will have a new mine hunter that we procured from the UK. And next year, by summertime, the second ship will be acquired in order to continue these efforts against drifting mines. And together with our partners, Turkey and Bulgaria, we will make sure that freedom of navigation is ensured on the entire Black Sea. This mine countermeasure task group is the key for the future of freedom of navigation at the Black Sea.
Mr. BİRBULESCU and maybe Mr. GAPEYEV, if he is online with us, because he encountered some technical problems. You are the representative of a very important actor and enterprise in the naval sector. What would be the most significant private sector risks you associate with challenges to freedom of navigation? And how will insurance costs evolve in the medium term in the context of a volatile security environment in the Black Sea?
Yeah, for the moment we are facing problems even for the Romanian ship owners, actually, even if they are trading within the Romanian territorial waters. The premiums of most of reputable insurance companies, even for the Romanian tug owners, which it's a sort of small ship helping in supplying or getting to berths the bigger vessels. The insurance companies ask them to actually increase the cost of the freight of the premium, which it's basically translated in a higher cost of the services, even that all these services are happening within the Romanian territorial waters. Yeah? So since the war started, we have faced within the shipping industry very high increase of premium, which is again translated in the price of transport. So at the price of cargo, and to the end user, it's translated accordingly. With this mines problem and security issues we have been facing in the last 2 years, definitely it's not a desired environment to develop a steady and efficient maritime trading. So if the situation will escalate, definitely the cost will follow this path. The efforts of the Romanian Ministry of Transport and the private companies was actually tremendous, and the total investment was up to only the railways in the Constanța harbor was the project next to 250 million. So we need to watch very careful the situation, because such investment has to be paid after all in supporting all these logistic chains. And once this is not, let's say, planned together with our partners within the Black Sea, that can be a little bit dangerous for our economic local environment, actually.
Thank you very much. We invite the audience to address questions to our distinguished speakers, if there are questions. If not, I will assume this role. To go further, I want to ask Mr. LAPAI one question. Now we see that freedom of navigation is essential for global security and food security and energy projects. And the Black Sea is a very good example for those issues. How will the cooperation between Ukrainian and Romanian ports evolve to manage Ukrainians' exports of goods and Romania's economic interest at an intensive level? Do you have any ideas, suggestions, recommendations?
Okay, thank you for your question. It's you say it in the right way, because coordination with our countries, it's very important, and it's not only plans. We do together a lot of works. It's projects with the main in this period. It's like ferry lane in Orlivka. It's like our project with FDG, our ships in the Sulina channel, and a lot that we are doing now. It's like a road transshipment in the Constanța, and our cooperation with Iranian Constanța, with Ismailian Constanța, it's a lot to do in the future, but in the past we have a good result, and we saw it in the numbers, in our diagrams, and as you said, as everybody understands that cooperation between these two countries is important, and we need to do a lot of work to make it better. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I also have a question to Mayor CHIİţAC. Considering the historical interests of the Russian Federation in controlling the Black Sea, what measures should be implemented to mitigate the risk posed by this situation?
Mulțumesc de întrebare. Sigur că
Thank you for your question. Of course, we are focusing a lot on what's going on in Ukraine, especially from the point of view of how it can influence us. And I have prepared a case study that is Neptune Deep. And you will see how Romania as a state has undermined itself, in my opinion. The EEZ is divided between several areas or sectors or perimeters, which over 10 years ago were given as a concession for the development of offshore projects. And explorations have been carried out, and this is important for Romania from 2 points of view. First of all, from an economic point of view, because when these extraction offshore projects for fossil fuels will be operational, we will gain and we will have a lot of billions of euros to the budget via taxations and fees, and we will be the only country capable to produce more than it consumes. Romania consumes 10, 11 billion cubic meters at most per year. And we import 1 billion cubic meters. One of the perimeters is Neptune Deep. The exploration carried out in our EEZ have discovered around 200 billion cubic meters. But I'm telling you here publicly that we should multiply this number by 15 or 20. And from the discussions I had with experts and specialists, I know that the exploiting companies will never give you the real number. They will give you a smaller one. And there's a possibility to carry out a joint reservation. If this is done jointly, the first one who will draw the first cubic meters will give to the others. So for the short historic view, it was OMV, ExxonMobil, you know very well who they are. ExxonMobil has a turnover of equivalent to 20 times Romania's GDP. So they have invested in 7 drills, 150 kilometers away from the shore. They have discovered this oil pocket, and they required to have a favorable legislation from the Romanian state. And the Romanian state that was passing the offshore law at the time did not agree to that. Afterwards, Exxon left. Romgaz has bought the shares, and everyone is now wondering why did they want then a favorable legislation. Well, let me tell you that whoever carries out such a project will have to invest a lot in the beginning, and that's a risk that the company investing takes over. And from the moment of the investment until the literal commercial exploitation, there may be a lot of years. In 2018, they had envisaged contracts in order to build the gas transportation infrastructure back to the shore. So it was a huge investment. You can read about it. You can find it on the internet. So in 2018, the exploitation should have started. We are now in 2023. It's not yet started. People say that it will start in 2026. Well, those of you who are optimistic may believe so. So if now Exxon would have been in the Neptune Deep and capable to extract gas for Romania beyond the economic benefits, we wouldn't have had these security issues. No one would have dared challenge an American interest in the region, an American company. So, as a country, we should focus on this American investment. A friend of mine said that wherever the Americans invest $1, well, that area will be heavily defended. That's the point I wanted to make. If the politicians back then had at least the necessary vision for that, well, we would have been safe right now in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So we have one question. Okay, please, maybe a short answer.
How do you see the security of the Black Sea region after the war? After the war, Ukraine, I hope, will win. So how will protect Black Sea from the further Russian interaction to block ports? Today they are blocking Ukrainian ports, tomorrow they can block Romanian ports. So do we see any possibilities of joint missions of our naval forces?
For Romanian Navy, cooperation is the main instrument, and collaboration is the main instrument to assure the freedom of navigation in the Black Sea. And I will speak just only two aspects. The first one is the continuous cooperation along the exercises we are having in the Black Sea with all NATO and partners. In all Romanian exercises, naval exercises, we invited our friends from Ukraine, along with Turkey and Bulgaria as well. And the second, besides this mine countermeasure task group, the Black Sea, I think it's possible or any kind of cooperation in surveillance, but surveillance is not only patrolling ship. We can do this by airplane, by electronic warfare, by surveillance means. So yes, cooperation in this regard is very important, and I assure you that we are doing and we are paying all the effort to have this under a common flag. NATO and partnership with allies. Yes, it's possible.
Thank you very much. To sum up our panel, several measures could help mitigate risks Russia poses to freedom of navigation in the Black Sea. First, increase NATO and EU support for monitoring and, of course, deterring actions in the Black Sea. And here we had the example of maritime aircraft patrolling and surveillance, and exerting pressure to reinforce international law. The second proposal is to help rebuild Ukraine's defense capabilities to defend its coasts and ports. It could involve providing advanced anti-ship and anti-air weapons tailored to Black Sea operations. Also investing in port defense systems in Ukrainian cities like Odessa, it is very important. It might include anti-ship and anti-aircraft systems to protect from shelling. Clearing maritime mines laid by Russia along the Black Sea coastline to ensure safe passage. And here we have a good example, a good practice. The United Kingdom has already committed to offer 2D mining vessels to Ukrainian Navy. Building alternative sea, river and overland logistics routes through the Danube River, the Republic of Moldova and Romania, with intermodal infrastructure, roads, rail, and river integrated routes could mitigate over-reliance on Black Sea shipping. And I still have some final remarks. The Danube River provides an alternative route for Ukrainian agricultural products into Europe through close bilateral cooperation, shared access, and efficient loading, unloading facilities. Romania could increase the capacity of specific Black Sea ports like Constanța and Galați as special processing hubs for Ukraine grain and other goods, dedicating warehouse space, cargo handling infrastructure, and transit routes. It will require, of course, investments to boost capacity. Romania and Ukraine may establish joint financing and investment pools supported by the European Union to enhance port facilities. The investment would improve break bulk handling, storage, and transshipment capacity between the airports. And my final observation or remark is related to a layered defense combining deterrence, denial mechanisms, and alternative logistics options could help mitigate Russia's military pressure over Black Sea navigation until its regional ambitions are curbed. I want to congratulate the New Strategy Center for the extremely valuable conference. Next panel, entitled The Vital Triangle of Connectivity, Romania, Ukraine, the Republic of Moldova, will start at 15:15 at 3 p.m. Thank you all for your participation and engagement, and you are invited to the lunch table. Thank you very much.